Hi everyone and welcome. In today's video we're going to take a look at three different articles, one of which was posted just a few minutes ago. This contains the weekly update, stuff that they're going to do during this maintenance, and the other two articles were posted yesterday, one of which contains a little bit of a preview, I guess, into what's coming up for March in terms of content. I want to share with you my thoughts and concerns regarding this update. And then finally, we have this article right here, also posted yesterday, which contains a few of the problems they've had with release and how are they dealing with fixing them. Yeah, first of all, the weekly maintenance. Here they're going to apply the nerfs to some of the tier 1 and 2 content that they've discussed, and I've also discussed in my previous video. And in this article, you can read it from the description below. They posted exactly how are they going to change the pieces of content from tier 1 and 2. Towards the end of the article comes some really good news as well. For example, they will apply a fix to improve the matchmaking issues. It has been a nightmare so far to play on the Central European servers, not only because of the queues, but once you do log in, playing with your friends and queuing up for content in general is really difficult and just very disheartening. So I'm really happy that they're trying to fix this and they're going to apply some sort of fix. Curious if it's going to work. Also very happy that they have actually fixed the Nineveh rapport quest chain. This is super cool because I was actually working on this for the Giant's Heart. And it's very nice to see that they might have fixed it. And it seems that the eternal meme, stay tuned, is still part of our lives. Here they tell us to stay tuned for the roadmap article that will share what we can expect in the coming months. This is something that people have been waiting for a very long time, to have a proper roadmap of what content can we expect in the following months, yet we still don't have it, which ties into the second article that I wanted to talk about, which is March update reveal. I'm not entirely sure what this article is supposed to be. Maybe sort of a sketch or a sneak peek of what's coming up in March. It triggers me a little bit, to be fair with you, especially this sentence, the fact that we get a full article with two pictures and two pieces of information, one that we get some story and two that we get Argos, which both of them very exciting pieces of content, granted. However, this line that we still don't know exactly what we're getting in March, even though we are in March and we have this article for some reason, we still need to wait for a bit later on to find out the full details of this particular update. Now, for those of you who are new, this uncertainty in what's going to happen even in the near future has been happening for months already. And before release, I always thought that maybe their communication is not yet solid, so they don't know exactly what they want to do. They're still deciding. However, it seems that it's ongoing and it's continuing past launch, where we still don't know exactly what we're getting in March, even though we are in March right now. However, this is just a little thing that triggers me a little bit. The second thing that I wanted to talk about in regards to this article is Argos itself. Argos is an 8-man abyssal raid content, so you need 8 people to be ready to jump into it per group, and it starts at 1370, item level 1370. Now, very few people in general in the West are today at 1370. On the European side of things, I could probably count those people on 2 hands. Not sure how it is on NA, but it cannot be much different than EU, because both regions have progressed sort of at the same pace. Having that said, and having only very few people ready for Argos, and seeing that they want to push it this month, is something that I'm not entirely sure that this should be the priority right now. Having Argos and having more content in general just to be there, regardless that there's nobody farming it, is not going to bother anyone, right? It's just a content that's there for whoever gets there to start farming it and continue progressing, right? That's cool. It's nothing that bothers anyone. But at the same time, the hype of releasing this content, if it doesn't appeal to the majority which is right now in tier 2 content, maybe mid to late tier 2, it loses a little bit of that hype and of that importance that, wow, Argos is being released. Wait, really? I can do that? There's going to be so few people being able to even enter Argos, that I'm not sure that it's really something that should be the focus right now. We're going to talk about the focus in just a moment. Before that, I also wanted to mention the leaked enchantment rates that were, again, another thing that's been leaked in Lost Ark a few weeks ago, before release, I believe. I think just hours before day one, they leaked an article on their official website, which you see right now in front of you. This article contains changed enchantment rates for tier 1, 2, and 3. Now, we don't know exactly when these changed enchantment rates are gonna take place. Are these enchantment rates something that is going to come with Argos, whenever Argos is gonna come, but this month in March? Or are these enchantment rates something for later down the road, maybe before Valtan? Valtan being the next big thing after Argos, right? Another 8-man thing. So we don't exactly know what's up with these enchantment rates, and this is hugely important, by the way, simply because of the fact that it's going to be much easier to enchant and get to Argos item level with these rates than it is right now. And if they are coming with Argos this month, there's a question that's being raised. Is it worth it for you to still enchant your tier 3 gear now? Because you would be a sucker doing that if we would get these rates, as after the rates, stacking up on materials and enchanting everything that one day when maybe we get these rates is going to bring you much better success rates, and is going to bring you much faster to the Argos level. And also, if we're not getting these enchantment rates with Argos, then the question still remains: who exactly is Argos for? Why is Argos right now a priority? It feels more of a business decision than a decision based on in-game facts. Having that said, let's move on to the second article, which is also very interesting, a place where they address a lot of the problems that Lost Ark has had since release, and I'm very thankful to them for working actively on these problems. I would have actually hoped that they would get fixed sooner, or at a much speedier pace than they are being fixed, but still, even the fact that they recognize them, they have them, is a good sign, yeah? Crystalline Aura fix, this is something that some people have had a problem with, where the Crystalline Aura just disappears. And this is quite annoying, because without Crystalline Aura, you don't have the Bifrost slots, you don't have the free triports, you don't have a lot of perks, right, that you would normally have. Matchmaking issues, this is a huge problem on the European side of Lost Ark, simply because even if you get past the gigantic queues and log in, you're still gonna have a very hard time getting into content with other people, simply because the matchmaking server is so overloaded that it cannot support more people. It has such a big delay, and it takes about 30 minutes at times, maybe even more, to keep pressing enter the dungeon until the system finally allows you to enter with all of your friends and do that content. And imagine doing this like for a normal person that doesn't have a pre-made, that hasn't played for 3 years Lost Ark before, just to fail. Imagine the frustration after waiting for so long. So these are the problems that should be fixed. Another thing, we're gonna get to the difficulty also. Gold seller spam and bots. This is another thing that's going to become a big problem eventually. I have a video on the most popular classes in Lost Ark. It's just 2 videos ago, you can watch it, and there Berserker and Sorcerers are so much more played than every other class, simply because there is a lot of bots playing Berserker and Sorcerers, and these are the problems that they need to fix right now. This is the number one priority. All work should go into this. People are really happy in Lost Ark right now. They're having fun with what is already given to them, and even this is a bit too much for some of them, as we're gonna see in a moment. But downtimes in Primetime EU, this should be fixed. Store items, Europe Central server queues, these things are holding players back, right? Not necessarily Argos here or Valtan here or Valtan not here. Lastly, I do want to quickly mention this bit right here, Guardian Raid and Abyss Dungeon difficulty. I've talked about this in just my previous video. I want you to pay attention also at how they phrase this part right here. They say that looking forward, this change is not an indicator that all future content will be made easier. Maybe just some future content will be made easier, right? Because they say not all of it, leaving room for just some. They also say we know that much of the appeal of tier 3 and late game content is its unique and challenging mechanics, and we do not want to drastically alter this experience. They don't want to drastically alter this one. This to me implies that there is room for them to make tier 3 content also easier, but not drastically easier, right? Not change it drastically. Challenge is part of what keeps people playing some of the boss fights. Not everything has to be difficult, but some things do. Which brings me to the second concern I have regarding this, and that is the fact that Amazon might actually have to do another wave of boosting item level of people. Just because everyone's taking their time, nobody's really there yet, and the speed at which people progress naturally, as seen in game, is not really the same at all as the speed at which Amazon or Smilegate and Amazon want to deliver content to us and want to get to a certain point. So because of this, even though boosting gear sounds fantastic, right? But in reality, it's going to create the same as it created for tier 1 and 2 content, where people were pushed so much so fast that they actually got to a point where stuff gets a bit more difficult and they just didn't know how to handle it. Thus, we're nerfing content now in tier 1 and 2 just so it can be easier to match the level of skill that a boosted player has in Lost Ark, which creates a whole chain of events that is maybe just in my stupid head, or maybe not, that I'm really afraid of. I just want, all I want is for Lost Ark to do great, because this is a fantastic game, it's a lovely experience, and all I want is that Amazon and Smilegate would actually take all of the pieces of information into consideration before making their decisions. And on top of the item level, that is a requirement to enter this content that apparently we're getting this month, and the higher item level next month, there's also the skill, and there's also how the fights feel. It's pointless to have a Valtan ready or up here and not enjoy it, because it's such a lovely fight. But in order to enjoy that fight, you need to start understanding some mechanics, how patterns work in Lost Ark, what's a group chemistry, what's a counter attack, where do you need to place yourself if you're that class, this class. These things take a little bit of time for people to, and people just want to play, or turn on their PC, do some islands, right, go to Tuki. I don't know, it's not a big deal at the end of the day. It's not a big deal, don't mind me. I just wanted to express my concerns and I don't know, my thoughts, my worries in regards to, is this really the right thing to do? Are these decisions gonna turn out to be positive? I really hope so. This is everything that I wanted to basically QQ about. I thank you so much for bearing with me. And until my next video, I will see you really soon. Take care and stay safe.